Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. My name's GBay99. I hope you all are having a wonderful day. Today we're back with another League of Legends video where today we're going to be talking about what I believe is the most important skill for a League of Legends player to have. I'm not trying to clickbait you with that title. I'll tell you what it is right now, actually. It's Minion Wave Management. Now, most of you guys know that I got coached by not only LS, but Wicked recently. I obviously had the coaching with LS, and then about a week later, Wicked also reached out to me and said he wanted to do a coaching session as well and talk about certain things. And one thing that I noticed about both of the coaching sessions was the obsession with minions in all sorts of different facets by both coaches. They talked about how much you should be focusing on always trying to find minions to go and kill and continuously get gold from at every moment in the game, always just thinking about getting gold, where are some more minions. They also talked about how to manipulate minion waves in different ways, some of which I already knew, but some of which I didn't know. And I honestly think the more and more I play League of Legends, the more and more I notice that seems to be what makes a good player different from a great player. I've played League of Legends at every rating under Diamond or below, right? And it feels like all the way up until about Diamond 5, maybe Diamond 550 LP, between Bronze and Diamond 550 LP, nobody cares about minion wave management, but it's got to be one of the most important things to focus on. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit of like a golden rule for you to follow if you want to see if you can improve your own gameplay. But before we go and start giving advice, it's important that we talk about how minion waves work. Now, when we're talking about minion waves here, the first thing you need to know is how to recognize when a minion wave is pushing. At the very start of a match, both minions will spawn from each base. They'll run down the lane all the way to top lane, and they will meet right in the middle. This invisible line where they meet is the middle area that you have to be aware of. When minions meet there, it's RNG which way it will push. You can do this in a custom game or in the training practice tool, and you will see it's random every time whether minions will push one way or another when they meet there. However, if a minion wave is equal and they meet on one side of that dividing line, then it will push in the opposite direction. So for instance, if we go and we tank these minions for a little bit, just tank them for a little bit, now the minion wave is on the red side of the dividing line, and it will push towards our tower. The reason for this is because even if our minions end up RNGing and killing their minions quicker, and normally it would push in this direction, because we're on this side of the dividing line, the reinforcements for red side are going to get here sooner, and then maybe one red minion will live, and then suddenly it'll be 7 minions to 6. And this is why, we can fast forward here if you want to see it yourself. Where's the fast forward button? You can see the minions are going to slowly start pushing to our side, and it will take a little bit of time if nobody's auto-attacking them. It'll take a little bit of time, but slowly the minions will bunch up and push to our side. That's a rule that you sort of have to understand. If you want a minion wave to push into you, you can tank that tower, or you can tank those minions on that side of the minion wave without getting in tower range. Another thing you can do if you want a minion wave to push into you is you can actually stand on top of a minion, and then your opponent will auto-attack you, and he'll pull creep aggro from your minions, right? He'll pull creep aggro, then suddenly your minions are dying because there's some time spent where your minions are auto-attacking him while they're getting shot by his minions, and you can get a minion wave to push into you that way. A minion wave will always continue pushing up until it hits a tower, and then once it hits a tower, it will start pushing in the opposite direction. You can, of course, influence this with auto-attacks to make a minion wave push faster or slower, and obviously, if you're auto-attacking a minion wave, this will change it, but generally speaking, a minion wave will always continue pushing until it either meets a tower or a champion, and then it will start pushing in the opposite direction. So now we're pushing to this tower. So now let's imagine a situation where you have a minion wave that's pushing into your tower, and you want it to constantly push in and freeze it perpetually. We'll talk about how this can be useful in a moment, which you guys all probably know already. But basically, all you need to do is think about how many minions more there are on the enemy sides, in this situation, how many more red minions there are than blue minions, and how far away it is from that middle line. So right now, it's kind of a medium distance from the middle of the lane to my tower, and we only actually need about 2 minions more so than the minions that we have. It's a little bit different if you're counting a cannon minion, but if there's no cannons here, if we kill this quickly, we only need about 2 more minions in the red wave than in our blue wave, and it will constantly push into our tower. This is a little bit different, and the closer and closer closer you get to like the perfect number of minions, the more and more RNG might come into play. I've heard 5 minions is the perfect freeze. Some people say 4 minions is the perfect freeze, where if you have 4 more minions or 5 more minions in the wave than on your wave, then you will always have it push into your tower. Right now, we probably need about 5 minions here. It's kind of important to know some of these numbers, specifically 5, to make sure that you always have the minion wave pushing into you, because you don't want the minion wave to get too large and too difficult to handle. Minions do deal a lot of damage if they're in a large enough group of numbers, so it can be a little bit difficult to freeze a wave. If you let the wave get too big, then the enemy can typically bully you out of lane and then suddenly reset the wave by letting it hit tower. But we'll talk a lot more about this. Let's go ahead and get into some gameplay specific examples of how you can use all of this to your advantage. Now, this example is taken from a game that I played yesterday up against a Gangplank top lane, which is a really good champion to abuse these sort of mechanics against. Generally speaking, it's best and easiest to abuse lane manipulation when you can beat your opponent in trades or threaten getting a kill. Gangplank is a notoriously squishy, easy to kill, very bad laner in the early game, early laning phase, and Aurelia, someone that has a lot of kill potential, does very well up against him. So that's what I'm thinking when I'm in this laning phase. Lucky for us, this Gangplank is bad enough that he's going to let us get a kill on him right here at like level 2 or level 3, which he really shouldn't be letting us get. Now, I do get a little bit of an advantage through killing him, solo killing him in laning phase here, but you can do this if you just beat your opponent in laning phase, right? You don't need to have a bunch of kills to have a huge gold lead ahead of them. You can just, zone out your opponent with a threat of damage, but because we're able to get a kill here in a moment, we're able to do this a lot earlier in the game than we otherwise would have been able to do. But don't think that we're only being able to do this because we get this early first blood kill. That's not the case. We actually end up dying to this Jarvan, so it kind of evens out anyway. Now, I promised you guys a golden rule example, and if I had to summarize all of this in a single sentence for what you should be thinking when killing minions is always be able to justify every auto attack. Every single auto attack you have on minions, have a reason for it. So right here, we're threatening damage on this Gangplank, and we're zoning him out, so he's missing CS and experience. But the wave is pushing to his tower, so what we want to do here is slow push it. By slow pushing a minion wave and only last hitting the minions, that's going to have a few advantages for us. Firstly, he's going to miss some CS, because the minions that we do have on his side that are attacking ours, maybe this melee creep, one of our range creeps, we'll have a few creeps on our side that die, where if we fast push it by just auto attacking nonstop, then none of our creeps will die. We're able to deny a little bit of CS here, but more importantly in this example, we're thinking that, oh, he's really low right now. If we slow push this and get a big enough minion wave, all grouped up around his tower, then we might be able to dive him and get a kill. Now again, this Gangplank is not the best player, and he ends up letting us dive him before we even get the minions at the tower. So, okay, fine, that's it's whatever. But, you can see the thought process of what we're thinking, and then we start auto-attacking the minions. At the end there, I don't know if you noticed, we auto-attack the minions as quickly as possible to get the minions to his tower, so this resets the wave and starts getting it pushing towards our tower. With the wave now pushing in our direction, we can abuse the hell out of this Gangplank and his huge deficit that he has right now. Look at the CS count, right? We're 14 CS on Gangplank to 21 CS on Aurelia. That's just 7 CS lead. That's one more minion than a minion wave. But because the minions are pushing to our tower, we're going to be able to start zoning him. Now, the reason I'm auto-attacking these minions is because I don't want the minion wave to get too big, so I can't control it. If the minion wave is too big, then he can threaten pushing it to our tower with us not really being able to stop him, right? He makes another mistake here and then lets us kill him again, but, ignore that. With the minion wave, if it gets a little bit too big, then he could, in theory, bully us out of lane with the damage of the minions and then have it reset off of our tower. We don't want that, so we do auto the minions a little bit to keep the wave small enough that it doesn't become a huge problem, but big enough that it's continuously pushing. If we fast forward a little bit here, you'll see the minion wave doesn't really move much, specifically right around here. This is the area we try to keep it in, and we don't let the minion wave move much, even when he gets back to lane. We just keep it here, and right here, this is like the golden area where this is a beautiful area to keep the minion wave at. Specifically, like between, I don't know what this terrain you would call it, between these rocks. This is like far enough away from the tower that you won't really have the tower influencing the minion wave much, but it's so far away from his tower that, this makes him vulnerable to jungle ganks. He can't really lane. We have a very long lane to chase him down and kill him if he lets us get an engage on him or something. And now look at his CS. It went from a 7 CS lead to suddenly he's at 18 CS, just 4 CS more, and we're at 46. And I believe this continues for a very long time. I accidentally closed the scoreboard here. This continues for a very long time. We're always keeping this minion wave pushing to our tower. We're not letting it reset. And then eventually Gangplank has to leave the lane and just go jungle because he can't do anything. Not only is he losing all this gold, but he's also losing experience. Right now he's level 5. We're level 7. This is an absolutely brilliant spot for us. Now we actually do make a little bit of a mistake here where we let the tower start hitting some of the minions and it starts pushing back out in his direction. So we're going to try and start slow pushing this. Jarvan comes top lane for a gank, but we're too far ahead. He can't really do anything. We threaten killing both of them, but I can't focus on one person long enough from ADHD or something that we end up not even getting a kill. But right now we're going to start slow pushing it again to make sure that Gangplank loses as much CS as possible. Look at our minions right now and try and count how many of them die. Here's a melee creep that dies, another melee creep that dies. Gangplank's not getting any of the CS. He's going to lose a couple of range creeps here as well, and the reason for that is because we're only last hitting. Justifying auto attacks is kind of easy when you're only last hitting, but when I think that's just the best way to put it. Always be able to justify your auto attacks. Now we eventually start pushing this a little bit quicker for a reason that we'll talk a little bit more about. Basically, what I'm trying to do with the Minion Wave here is set up for a dive on Gangplank because I have my I don't have my ultimate, but Gragas is up here, and he wants to help us get a kill. So we want to start pushing this to tower quicker to get the Minion Waves there so they can help us with damage and tanking the tower. But Gragas ends up going very aggressive, and he just ends up setting us up. So I think we end up stealing this kill with a QQ combo here. Yeah, there it is. So, this is another example. We push the Minion Wave to tower. We don't do it quite quick enough to set up for a dive, but again, this ends up resetting the Minion Wave, and then it would push towards our tower, but we end up coming here and taking the tower anyway. Now, in most situations, you want to slow push a Minion Wave because slow pushing will deny the most CS, and, it's easy to last hit minions and zone an opponent if you have a big lead. But every once in a while, you do want to fast push a Minion Wave for various reasons. So right here, what I want to do is I want to wait for these minions to get up to this Minion Wave, and then as soon as these minions get here, start auto attacking, fast pushing it as quick as possible. The reason for it is if I last hit this or kill this Minion Wave slowly right here, then I'll have these minions down here. They'll go all the way up here, they'll meet here, and then I'll be able to kill this next Minion Wave down here right here. Get that? If I fast push this Minion Wave, then the minions are going to meet each other somewhere around here, and this puts me in danger from a gank. I do have a ward, but only one ward. I could be getting ganked through, Jarvan coming from Rift Herald or something. So we want to have the Minion Wave as close to our tower as possible, whereas if we speed this up a little bit, we wanted the Minion Wave to be as far down the lane as possible so it's not too dangerous for us. You see I'm starting to slow push this now, want to last hit it and wait for these minions to come up, but as soon as these minions do come up, then I'm going to start quick pushing it, and the reason is because I want this Minion Wave to now reach this tower so Gangplank would lose CS if it meets this tower. So I start auto attacking, queuing as much as possible, and pushing this Minion Wave. Normally I should leave here. This is a little bit of a mistake on my part. I should go steal Gromp right now. But if Gangplank wasn't here, these minions would meet the tower. He would end up losing a lot of CS and experience. He ends up staying, coming to defend, and we just kill him, which is, that's the advantage that we get from him coming up here, but I think we also end up taking this tower. I hope you guys can understand what I'm saying. All of this stuff with regards to manipulating the Minion Waves and making sure that you deny your opponent as much CS as possible, that's really how you win a game. We're able to take a second tier turret here at 12 minutes, and it's really not because of the 5-1 score on us, 0-5 score on Gangplank. It's because of the 98 CS to 34. It's because of the level 10 to the level 7. This is really the bread and butter of League of Legends that you can abuse incredibly hard against people that don't really care or know much about Minion Waves. And this is something I would say between Bronze 5 and D5 0 LP or D5 50 75 LP, you can really abuse this in every rating. People will maybe know how to freeze a Minion Wave, but that's it. You can there's a lot that you can do with Minion Waves that people normally don't think about at all. Anyway, I hope some of this made sense to you guys, and I hope you found this video kind of interesting and kind of fun. This is really one of the beautiful things about League that most people don't understand what makes, a lot of people look at something like LCS and they just see people killing minions and they're like, hey, this is boring. Nothing is happening here. It's just, nobody's getting killed, nobody's going for kills, it's so boring. But this is like a very, very in-depth and complex set of strategies that can just make the game so much more exciting and fun to view. It's a skill that if you can master it, you can do a lot in matches. A lot to not only get kills and set yourself to go off on killing sprees, but to take objectives and to get CS and to deny experience. I mean, this is a game that they took our tower. We ended up getting the first tower, but look how little my team has done on the other areas of the map. Ari's 3-1 off of getting some picks, and nobody's died, but we're really able to set our team off for a very easy victory here by denying this Gangplank and basically making him worthless. You can do this in your own games if you want. You can practice this. Just try and start thinking. It's that's all you really need to do, and you'll pick up on it. Just start thinking about Minion Waves, and you'll really be able to get a lot more wins. But anyway, I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. I will see you all tomorrow. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Good luck in solo queue, and have a wonderful day.